Here we go. All right. Hi and welcome everyone to the first webinar in our Red Door Healing and Ancient Healing Arts series. My name is Helmut Wharmann-Whitaker, and I am here with two pretty amazing, wonderful women. Hi Kay, hi Laura.
Hi.
One of them is my wife, Kay Cordell Whitaker. She's the author of The Reluctant Shaman and Sacred Link. And she is a seer, a healer, a thrower of the bones, and a weaver of webs of balance in the Katase tradition. And she's also the developer of the Red Door. She has studied, researched, and practiced the ancient healing arts of Katase and the pre-dynastic Egyptian mystery teachings from the temples of Isis and Osiris for more than 45 years. She started to develop the Red Door more than 25 years ago, and she will tell you as much as she can about it today. And the other woman on the screen is our amazing friend Laura Keddy, who has a farm in Aurora, a small town outside of Portland, Oregon. And she is building a beautiful teaching and retreat center on that farm. She has studied many spiritual teachings for many years, and 5 years ago, she started to study Katase, and now we can't get her to stop.
True.
She always wants more. Fortunately, there always is more, as she herself says. So hi again, you two. Laura will be interviewing Kay today about the Katase Red Door. We will take some questions at the end, so have pen and paper ready to jot down your questions so you can ask them when we get to that part. And last, before we get started with the interview, I need to share our disclaimer with you. This is the Katase and the Katase Red Door disclaimer. The healing work and teachings that we offer and that you are receiving stem from ancient spiritual healing traditions and are not intended as a medical or psychological service in the allopathic sense of the term. We do not make any medical claims. The ideas, information, procedures, and suggestions we provide are based on those ancient spiritual traditional healing traditions and are not intended as a substitute for consulting with a medical professional. Kay, I, or anyone else working with us shall not be liable or responsible for any loss or damage allegedly arising from anything we provide. Our healing work and teachings are rendered within the context of the ancient traditions they are based on. Everyone receiving healing work or teachings from us is wholly and entirely responsible for their own health and health care. So we got the legal stuff out of the way, and we're ready. Laura and Kay, take it away.
And thanks, Kay. I love being the one that gets to interview you because I'm always the one that has the most questions, I think. So now, in front of everybody, I get to ask you all my questions. But today, we're talking about this, your fabulous development that looks fairly simple, but we want to talk about all the amazing things it actually can do. So, starting with development of it, because this seems simple enough, but how long did it take you to develop this? And I should say, what is this? Maybe we should start out saying, you know, what it actually, maybe not what it does yet, but what it is.
So what would you like? What it is?
What it is.
What is it? Well, it is a device that functions because of its geometry. Its geometrical form creates very specific energy fields and patterns and movements of energy that end up creating what is known in science today as a scalar wave. And the scalar wave is what does all the magic. You have a different geometry, different size, even just a little bit, different shape, just a little bit, and there will not be any scalar wave created, and it won't be able to do the magical things that it does. So these things that really truly seem like magic, it's nature, it's physics, and they're very, very, very real. What the scalar wave does, you put information into that scalar wave, and it starts creating energy fields to accomplish those instructions, the information. So the way we use it in healing is we give the scalar wave a target. And that can be a human, it could be an animal, a plant, the soil, a garden, even entire agricultural fields. It could be your house, it could be your car, it could be all kinds of things, your water. So you give it a target, and that means that as the user has the bowl there with them, and the target is represented often by a photograph that works really well inside the bowl, that makes the connection. So the user is at one end of that scalar wave, and the target is at the other end. And you can observe, as the user, you can observe what is at the other end. And you can observe it in great detail. For instance, if we wanted to work on a physical body, we can observe it and use systems that would give numbers to things to evaluate. So you could evaluate and assess the energy level, the quality of whatever.
So when you're saying, I'm sorry, when you're saying observe, you mean bring back information?
Yeah, you observe and bring back information. As the user, you are asking questions. For instance, if I had you in a bowl, I would have your photograph and probably your signature, maybe a piece of your hair. These are things that would create that connection through the scalar wave. And then as I start focusing my attention on you and ask questions, very specific questions. And we've developed some really long lists of very, very wonderful questions to ask so that you could figure out all kinds of things about what is going on with you. So health-wise, we would be looking at how healthy is your whole body? That's a good first question.
That's a great first question.
The first question. How healthy is your whole body, your whole system? That would include everything that's physical about you, everything that is energetic, emotional, mental, spiritual level, everything. And then we start getting it narrowed down a little bit, asking more questions. How healthy is your blood? How healthy is your liver? How healthy is your digestive system? And all the way through your body. Then we can go down to even finer levels. We can look into these different organs real specifically. What's happening with your thyroid? and say it's a little low. So we go in and look a little deeper, and we're looking at the cells of the thyroid, the different sections of the thyroid, and how healthy are they? And we're getting numbers, assessment, evaluation numbers that we write down on with all this different information. So as we're looking at each body part, we're getting numbers for each body part. And the system that we use goes from 0 to 100. Mm-hmm. So everything is consistent, and you're able to relate one thing to another in terms of how healthy it is or isn't. So say we're looking at your thyroid, and it's got a pretty low number. Perhaps your whole body system is doing pretty good. Maybe it's a 60. That's pretty good for our culture. People in our culture are not very healthy. So 60 is you're doing pretty well. But we never see things as high as 100. I've never seen anything over 80. And that's rare, even for wild animals, for the plants in the garden, because of all the different things that we have in our environment these days that are not good and not healthy. It brings the total systems down.
That's what I'm wondering. Can you use this also then to find out about the bad things that might be in your body?
Mm-hmm.
So what maybe
we figured out that, well, the thyroid seems to be the lowest thing. So we're going to examine it in more detail and figure out what areas of the thyroid, what functions of the thyroid are not doing so well. Then the next list of questions is, what's wrong? Is there a germ in there? Is there a whole bunch of poison? Do you have a mercury soaking up inside your thyroid? There's so many different things it could be. We got long lists of what could be wrong. And so we go through and we ask, looking through that scalar wave from the operator to the target, and then the fine detail of the target. We're not looking just at your whole system. We're looking at, we've narrowed it down a little bit. So now we're looking at the thyroid. What is it? What happened? Why does it not function the way it should? And we go through the list, and we create the same scale of numbers, 0 to 100. 0 is nothing, empty or dead. 100 is super perfect. And we've already discussed about the body, the whole body, whole system. 60 is really, really healthy for people in our culture. So maybe we're looking at your thyroid, and it's 40 or 45. That's making a picture of something very, very wrong there. Something needs to be fixed, and probably pretty soon. Because if you don't fix it, then it begins to drag everything else in the body down. So the sooner you get it fixed, start working on it with different venues, then you bring that up, it brings the rest of your body back up. You don't do anything, all the numbers of your body go down, and the total body systems number goes from 60, dropping into 50s, and getting lower. If it's getting really bad, you haven't done anything, and everything else, other organs are getting really sick, you're going to be dropping your whole system into 40s.
We can use the bowl to pull information. So say my thyroid's in the 40s, and it is filled with toxins, soy, all sorts of stuff holding it down. How would can this be used in ways and to then heal or repair or
Absolutely.
eliminate.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can send frequencies and information through that scalar wave about what a healthy thyroid is and how it needs to be operating, what that blueprint is like, and the thyroid receives that information through the scalar wave. So we can look through the scalar wave and get information, and then make a record of it, record that, and we can send information to help make it better. So say you have a lot of toxins. You need to find out which toxins. So we've got lists for that. And you look through the scalar wave into the thyroid and figure out whether you got mercury and lead, and you've got some really messed up vegetable oils in there, real rancid, nasty things. Soy, like you mentioned. Soy will take your thyroid out real fast.
And did.
Yeah. So you find out what that list of things is, and we have different frequencies for each one of those, as we call them, bad guys. So we write that down, and we get numbers of just how bad is it. So maybe we're measuring that mercury, and we find out it's like maybe 15 or 16. We're hoping it's 0. 0 is empty, nothing, gone, dead. But 15 for a bad guy, that's pretty bad. That's starting to cause some serious trouble and make trouble for other organs as well. So we go through each one of the bad guys and see how much damage each one of them has caused, and where in the thyroid. We may even look in other parts of the body. Where else have these bad guys gotten in your body, and what kind of damage, how much damage have they caused? So we get that information and make that assessment and write that down so we remember it and we can see it laid out in front of us. Begins to form patterns when you're looking at the body part list and you're looking at the disorders list. So they start to make some really interesting patterns that we can learn a lot from. And so we can broadcast the frequencies, the information that helps get rid of the mercury out of your thyroid. It literally makes it, I guess the best word is disappear. It sounds silly and it sounds like magic, and it's so like, oh yeah, sure. But there's a scientific basis behind that. When you're working with a scalar wave, you're working on a quantum level. And quantum level is, it's energetics, all the energetic levels. It's subatomic and atomic levels, electromagnetic interactions. And so when we're working on that kind of a level, we can take things apart. We can use these rates that have been designed to take something like mercury, or maybe say you got a virus in there too that took advantage of your weak thyroid, and so it's in there making a nice house for itself and all of its family. When we broadcast the frequencies for getting rid of the germs or the poisons, we literally are taking them apart at a subatomic level. And they, essentially, from the outside looking in, they're disappearing.
Incredible.
Out of the person, out of the target. And that is quite fabulous. It's quite a miracle, but it has a strong scientific basis behind it.
Knowing, I mean, I studied with you for 5 years plus now. At some point we'll stop counting. But we learn, you know, another thing, you learn through Katasi, for those who are interested, similar healing work to this that you know, we can do. One of the things that I want to talk about is, too, and ask you about, is you know, the difference, because I'm sure there's a few energy healers and Reiki masters and such maybe on this call now, and a little interested in the value, you know, of, I know my reasons why I value this and the ease of this, but maybe you can talk about, you know, the value of using the bowl, the similarity and the value of using the bowl, you know, in conjunction with, or where it meets those two worlds of energy work. Does that make sense? I hope that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The energy healing that we learn in these ancient traditions, like the Katasi Peruvian tradition, the pre-dynastic Egyptian tradition, the Hawaiian tradition, Aztec, Tibetan, they all have very, very similar practices in their healing arts. They're remarkably similar, which, you know, brings up another whole
yeah, no,
questions.
Yes.
And yeah,
Helmet won't let us go there today.
This for a different
another
interview, a different talk. But and there's reasons for why they're so similar. They all have the same source. They come from the same place initially. But with the energy healing, with our mind and with our body, we're learning how to capture life energy and direct it, focus it into the target. And we learn how to take our mind, our attention, our focus of our attention inside the body. And we can talk to the body parts. We can talk to the diseases. We can talk with our spirit helpers and find out everything about what's wrong. Where is it wrong? Which organ, which part, how to get wrong, what's the history, if we want or need to find that out. And what do we do to change it and fix it? And they give you instructions. And with our focus and our mind and the energy that we're sending to this, the target could be right there 2 feet away from you, or it could be on the other side of the planet. And the distance makes no difference. And that's true with radionics too. The distance makes no difference whatsoever. With our energy from the body, from the ancient healings, we're making a scalar wave. Mm-hmm. With our mind, with the energy, with the flow, we're literally creating a scalar wave. And we can do the same things of looking into the target and assess, evaluate, and we get help evaluating, because we can't know everything about, you know, the medical things that are going on, say, in a human body. And even modern science doesn't know all of that. But when we talk to the body parts themselves and the diseases themselves, it's this giant, endless library of information of what the organ is and what it does and how it got sick and how to make it better and what are the steps. And they help you do the steps. And when we're doing that, we have this huge amount of life energy and attention going to that person or whatever we're working on to heal. And it is our mind. It is our whole energy system that is focusing creating that scalar wave, creating the intensity of the energy level, raising the energy level in the person, or whatever else we're working on, and allowing the changes to happen, helping the changes to happen so that that body, that system, can heal itself. We're giving it information and energy so the body can heal itself. When we are through with that healing and we take our attention away and we stop that big flow of life energy and that information, the body is left with what it received and its new instructions and information that we gave it so that it can work on its own to heal itself. And with the bowl, it's similar. A few things are a little different.
The 4 years it took me to learn. It's different. We can talk about the speed of learning later, but yeah.
Everybody's different.
Yeah, I should say the 4 years for the energy work it took me to get to that point versus the 3 months I studied the Red Bull.
Yeah, the ancient healing there's a lot to it, and you have to learn it one step at a time and work with that step and integrate it, and one step with another step and with another, and it's all becomes one large package of information and instructions and skills, tools, but it has to build one on top of the other, and it does take 3 to 4 years to get all the way through it and learn all the goodies and the tools and the tricks, and it's good and juicy. It's a lot of fun. But when we're working on healing somebody in that fashion, we have a huge focus and a huge life energy burst all at once. And it is there while our attention is there on the person. And then it's taken away. But the person has what they received, and they work with that until they need another healing or they get better. But with the bowl, they are getting a steady stream of life energy and information. And the kinds of information that re-educate the body system and allow the body to heal itself. So they're doing very much the same thing. It's just in a little bit different delivery. With the bowl, it's a constant stream, 24 hours, 7 days a week. As long as you've got the person in the bowl with different programs and frequencies and information, then that's working. That is constantly, evenly being sent to that person. And it's incredibly healing. Both venues are very, very healing.
Both together.
And they work really well together.
Yeah.
They work really well together. So what you can put into the bowl can keep something consistently supported with the life energy stream and the information that's coming through that bowl.
Yeah. I had how long did you in development of this? I mean, I laugh at when Helmut said that, what's that?
It went in kind of stages.
Yeah.
It was at least 20 years to get to what you are holding. We just talked to the lady who fabricates them, and she has a new batch for us. And they I don't understand what it is. I haven't talked to her or Helmut about it yet, but she figured out something new in the mechanical ways of putting the materials together, because it can be really tricky. The radionic activity of creating that scalar wave works really well with hardwood, especially certain hardwoods. And to get that exact shape is really tricky. And with wood likes to warp. You know, it gets in the sun, or the room gets humid, or it gets really, really dried out, or you move from a humid place to a dry place, especially. It's really hard on wood. And people who have done that, they see that with the warping. The warping, you know, the wood in their table starts to warp, or in the chair or something like that. So the very first ones that we tried definitely started warping. That was the first realization that we were going to have to do lots of experiments and trying different materials and different methodologies of acquiring that shape. It's a simple shape.
Yeah, I was curious about what inspired the bowl. I mean, it was just like wherein, you know, did you have a dream one night, or?
I know. In the Egyptian teachings and in the Peruvian Katasi teachings, sacred geometry is very, very prominent and really, really, really important. And they stressed over and over and over again about how important it is to start realizing that all geometrical shapes, two-dimensional or three-dimensional, create frequencies, they create energy flows, and they create patterns. And when you take it from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions, then you get 3-dimensional energy flows and patterns. And the energy patterns and the flow of the energy that goes in those patterns with the bowl creates the scalar wave. It's very, very specific.
Yeah, my salad bowl is not going to cut it.
No, your salad bowl.
And so, I know of people who have the bowl and I'm not one of them, but I know of other people who have the bowl who can see the waves. Is that what would they be seeing? What would I be seeing if I could see something?
Patterns of flow. The easiest ones to see are the spirals. And there's a number of them. That's another thing about that particular shape. There are many patterns of energy flow that are existing within the same space. And so as they do that, they refract. They're like they are bumping into the inside wall of the bowl, and just like light hitting a window, some of it is going to refract. It'll bounce off of the window at a particular angle. And it's a well-known thing in science. You can calculate the angle of refraction of anything. So if you just kind of imagine that with all these different energy flows and patterns and different kinds of spiraling energies, some energies are just going straight up or straight down. Most of them are making some kind of a spiral. They're all refracting and bumping into each other and bumping into the wall, and they create a spiral tube down the center. Inside that very thin tube is the scalar wave.
So cool. So I'm a feeler, though. You know, and I definitely, when there was, I can feel it working, but the talk maybe about the feel that comes off it, especially when you don't have anything in it, or how it works. Maybe what happens when there isn't a target in there.
When the bowl is open and empty, as we call it, that means there's no target in there. There are no papers with the different frequencies. That's
like
open
that.
and empty. That's open and empty. Then the different patterns have a chance to create themselves. It's just nature. The energy's flowing every which way all the time. And any shape is creating different energy flows at different frequencies and moving in different directions. And as we do that, it's going to be creating all of these different patterns, the flowing, moving patterns that are interacting with each other and creating that scalar wave. So when there's no target, no information in there, it's totally unhindered. It's making a very strong scalar wave. All the other patterns are able to just fully blossom and just be present. You can feel it with you put your hand right over the bowl and go to the outside of the bowl and over it. If you just let yourself feel, you have to, get out of the way of yourself and relax your muscles. Most of the students, when they first do this, they're all tense and they're going like, I don't feel anything.
I was never like that.
If you tense up, you're blocking the signals and you won't feel anything. So you have to really, really relax and breathe real deep, slow, get yourself full of oxygen and let yourself focus. And what you're focusing on is letting your physical senses feel the energies that are there, the patterns. And people have different ways of describing it. They feel the presence of it. They feel it pushing on their hands. They feel something fluffy, smooth. And all people have a lot of different things that
fuzzy
the way they try to describe the sensation. It's very subtle. It's very subtle, but it's there and it's quite strong. So when one of the fields, the first fields that begins to form when the bowl is open and empty, it's not covered or anything, is sitting right side up, so the empty part is sticking up. That's when you can feel all those things. One of the patterns that is easiest to perceive is a spiral that's really, really big. Looks like a spiral galaxy. And it comes off the sides of the bowl. So you can perceive it just out from the sides. And it goes and goes and goes and goes. When I was first developing this, we were in a little teeny apartment that may have been about 500 square feet. It's a little teeny apartment. And I knew that it at least went to the walls and probably into the neighboring apartment. But, I didn't know the people really, so I couldn't go over there and test to see if I could detect it over there. But then when we moved to Montana, we were living in the west end of this really, 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 really big house up on the ridge on the Rocky Mountains. And you could see really, really far, most directions, but especially to the east, you could see really far. And there's a little town called Livingston that was out there a ways. And then you could see a little bit beyond that. Then that was the visible horizon to the east. So we had the very first class with 10 people in it. And our very first boxes of bowls, we had 10 bowls. And we didn't realize exactly how strong of a field they would make collectively. I realized to some degree a few bowls, one or two or three, have a collective influence when they are open and empty. And this big spiral is reaching out. I mean, it just goes and goes and goes. It's spiraling in towards the center of the bowl. And it's collecting things like negative thought forms. Easy, loose energy that can be collected. It's cleaning up the environment. So all the nasty, negative thought forms full of icky, old emotional debris stuff, and it just sucks them all up. And it disappears them. It pulls them straight into the scalar wave, and they are no longer in existence.
So cool.
So we were having this class and at this big table, and they had these huge windows, huge, big glass windows. And one of the students was closer to the windows and was noticing that there was a huge eagle flying right outside the window. And that's kind of odd. Here's all these people on the other side of the glass. It's just a little weird. So she announces this, and everybody gets up and goes outside to see the eagle. And we realize we're standing outside, and this eagle is flying right over us and where the bowls are. And then it moved off to the south. And we could see to Livingston was to the east, and there were these spots in the air, 2 spots at a time coming close to us. And when they got closer, we realized that's 2 more eagles. And they came and they flew over the bowls and us, circling a few times, and off to the south. And then another pair and another pair. We could see them coming from all the way out to the horizon.
Some of these eagles were not the same species of eagles.
So
It was
cool.
like a golden eagle and a bald eagle flying together, but it just doesn't happen. They're rivals. They're territorial rivals. But they had all these different mixes of different eagles, and they were coming, and they all came and went over, spiraling over the bowls. A lot of people had left their bowls open too. They weren't all doing something. Excuse me. And so they just kept coming. We finally stopped counting at 23, 24.
Wow.
And they were still coming, and we went back in to finish the class. We have no idea how many actually finished, continued to come. But that told us that big spiral galaxy form goes many miles out. And its effect is also reaching, going up and then down. So it's just huge how much effect it has.
And you can, that's what makes me in awe of this. It's like this, it can be in your home. I mean, because I have bowls working, I'll see the birds of prey do the same thing. They'll fly over the room that they're all working in, they're, but again, it's just like, I'm just in a little awe over, the fact that something that potent, it can be in every home. It's just like, it's just this. And I hate saying just this, because I know it's not just anything, but it's, one of the other questions I want to make sure get answered is,
who all, what all. You kind of talked about it before, but I want to go back to it. Can you use this on? You know, is there a weight limit? You know, is there a size limit?
No. It's used in a lot of agriculture. It does, you know, a lot of people use different types of radionics on agriculture, and they use it on commercial fields. So we're talking many, many, many big acres, plots, and you can broadcast the whole size.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah. And so, I mean, just a real more specific question, you know, that I think people would ask, is it safe to use on pregnant women?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And maybe encouraged.
You need to be aware that they have certain sensitivities and the fetus has certain sensitivities, and do your research so that you know that you're broadcasting things that are going to be good and usable and safe. And one of the things that we do in our protocol, and that's with both the energy healing techniques and the radionics, Red Bull techniques, is that we ask, is this good to use? Is this safe to use? Does this person need this right now? Is this going to cause any unexpected side effects? There's a whole list of protocol questions to ask for every single thing we think of to put in the bowl.
Yeah. So training, you know, I was comparing the 4 years that I took to do training versus the 3 months it took for me to go through. And note, I took the advanced learning, but what's coming up is, or what you've created is a simple isn't the right word. Can you talk about?
It is simpler.
Simpler.
The advanced class starts off with the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
with the very first pieces of information and the very first steps, and it takes you through slowly and very simply, easily, one step at a time, and gets into the very advanced things by the end. But what we've got coming up really soon is what we're calling a quick start class, quick start Red Door. So it's taking the beginning teachings and putting them together in such a way that they're very accessible. Everything is simple, one little simple step at a time. So everything is understandable. You get to, with both classes, it's very experiential. This is stuff, and the energy healing stuff too, it's experiential. And that's another reason why it takes a little bit longer than other kinds of things that you might find in academia,
Mm-hmm.
school. So the quick start gives all the pieces that you need, all the experience that you need to be able to operate the Red Door, to be able to do these assessments and send and broadcast different pieces of information, frequencies, and all the different possibilities of things you can broadcast to your person that you're working on, or if you decide you need to work on your garden or plants and for your pets. The radionics, this Red Door energy healing, works so well on plants and soil and water and pets. They, what my teachers for the Egyptian and the Peruvian Katasi teachings used to always say is that they're really easy to work on because they don't have all of our psychological, mental piles of trash, and blind beliefs, and hang-ups that us humans carry around with us, especially those in our culture. And because that can make it, a little more challenging to work on people. The plants, nature, the animals, they feel it. They are able to utilize it immediately. They perk up. They see things get fixed very, very rapidly.
I'd love to see more people in agriculture using it. That personally, gardens, animals, both. I've had great success, pest prevention, not using, because we're organic, avoiding, the chemicals that other people need. We've had good success. I can say that. I also
you're using this on like ducks and chickens. And
yes, I'm using it on ducks and chickens, but I have to say I have a bowl for each of my cats, and I found it's cheaper than going to the vet. The vet freaks them out, they get worse, but I've had, all disclaimers here, but I've had success from everything from fleas to cysts to all sorts of stuff with my cats using the bowls. And so we got bowls for the cats because the vet bills and the trauma for me. But yes, our farm, we're a poultry farm, and I have a bowl specifically for our chickens, but we used them on turkeys and ducks. So anybody wants those programs, I can share those with them later. But so that, it goes back to talking about other uses. People, plants, animals. I've used it on the well, but some people in, is it counseling or psychology, that are also using it in their offices and ways.
Yeah. One of the nice things about the galaxy pattern, the spiraling energy field that is sucking up negative thought forms and energies, you have it in your house, whether it's empty and open or whether it's full broadcasting to somebody or in something, it's still creating those same fields. It's still sucking the nasty thought forms out. So we've had a number of people who do counseling, psychiatrists, different doctors, and a lawyer.
Of course.
Have a bowl in their office. We had one clinician that she only had one bowl, and she didn't want to be without it. So she'd take it back and forth from home to work every day, travel with it in the car.
We call those bowling bags.
So I guess what you're saying is, and what you haven't mentioned yet, is clearing the home or clearing your office or whatever space you are in.
Here's the space of all those negative energies, negative thought forms, the old history that may not have been all that nice. It just clears all of that out.
Thanksgiving arguments.
Oh yeah, they just suck it right up.
It does. I'm laughing about it, but I've had 2 Thanksgivings where I've slipped the bowl into the room. And everybody suddenly got along and felt better. It's, people are always saying how good my house feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know we're right at an hour, aren't we, Helmut? That's right.
We're coming up, and we can go over if there's things we still want to cover. One couple of things I wanted to throw in is that you do not need a specific energy healing training to learn to use it.
Yes.
And at the same time, whatever you have been trained in, you can add that, the red door to it. And that will probably greatly enhance whatever you're doing. So those are the two things that I have on my notes here. And whatever else you have, Laura, that you want to cover.
You know what? I'm almost at the end of my question. I mean, we covered the learning curve. What was bigger? I think the one thing that is top of mind with a lot of technology, you know, the 5G scary world, trying not to be scared, a world that's coming out. You know, there's a lot more electromagnetic changes. It's, you know, I'm curious if the bowl can be used also, you know, as a form of protection.
Yeah.
That was actually the first question that somebody typed in.
Oh. Well, good. That other
on the same page.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean, you can bring back information, it can send healing information, it can send health and, you know, repellent to fleas. I've seen that one. You know, can it work in protecting us, especially in this world we're heading towards?
Yeah, it can. The field by itself helps protect from all different kinds of energies that would not be healthy. So you can even add to that by the specific rates and frequencies, programs that are created exactly for electromagnetic energy that we have created, our non-earth-made electromagnetic energies. And even the lights, the non-native artificial lights that we have to put up with, with our computers and the phones and the TVs and the huge bright lights that everybody's buying these days. And the stores seem to be full of those extra bright LED, super white. They have nice names, like full spectrum and white light and stuff like that, but they aren't really. They're very, very dominant blue light. And I mean, so dominant, so strong. They're blasting your eyes. They're very, very unhealthy for you. So very specific programs for all of those non-native energies that we have to live with. It disintegrates them. It disappears them.
Oh, I like that word.
I think one thing you want to add there probably is that in combination with strengthening your immune system and your resistance to all these energies and non-native EMFs, the combination of that and the protection, that can be very, very helpful.
Good point.
Did we have other juicy questions?
We don't have any questions yet.
Oh.
Do you have anything before we go to the Q&A?
I'm currently good, but I reserve the right to slip my questions back in. Is that okay?
Totally
Yeah,
okay.
let's see who has what sort of questions out there.
Okay, there is a tab that says QA.
Okay.
Menu item, so you can go there if you have questions.
You want me to go there?
No, anybody. All the people listening, and type in your questions if you have any. In the meantime, this was the first in the series, in the Healing Arts series. This was the first webinar, and next Tuesday, February 5, we are going to do the second webinar, and I'm trying to find the description for that. Yes.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, that is the next one. That's again on February 5, this coming Tuesday. And this one starts at noon Mountain Time, and it is called the Quantum Physics Effects in the Red Door Healing Work in the Ancient Energy Healing Arts and the Healing Technology of the Future. So there's a bunch of stuff we're gonna cover in that, and you can read more about the next one on the page that you have registered, or if you haven't registered for the webinars yet, you can go to the website and read about the next one and all the other ones. And the address for that page is strike that, katasereddoor.com. That's KATASEEREDDOOR.com. So katasereddoor.com. And we have a couple of more questions. Can only one bowl have only one target? That's from Rebecca.
That's a good question.
Ooh, good question. You can actually put more than one target in there, but they would be receiving the same program. Say you have 2 kids at home and they're catching the flu, they're both sick. You can put the flu program in the bowl and both of their target material, both of their photographs. So they have the same program, but it's going to the 2 of them. You cannot put 2 different programs, each designed for a different person or target, and put them in the same bowl together. The bowl doesn't separate those. It all mooshes together.
I can personally say that just the flu stuff of the bowls. I mean, I the only time I ever get sick, Kay, anymore is when, I get sick. I don't show I'm sick, or, when there's a new strain, a new virus that we don't have a program for yet. But I literally went 2 years without getting anything, and then I got a new mutation, and then it's been a year and a half since I've been sick. The flu's a great, just alone. Again, I'm going to repeat myself about every home having one. It's not just the Thanksgiving, clearing the negative thought form. It's just like the lack of being sick all the time. Just that alone is priceless.
That is priceless. Yeah. I used to get sick a lot. And the bowl makes such a difference, such a difference. When Helmut and I were first married and I was developing the bowls and I had some prototypes, he got the flu. I mean, oh God, he was moaning and groaning. He was in the bedroom in that little apartment. I was on the other side of the wall at my desk with the radionics and going through a number of different lists to find the best stuff, the right stuff that his body needed to get rid of the flu. And all of a sudden, I hear him talking through the wall. It's like, what did you do? Did you do something? What did you do? And he gets up. He's out. His face looks okay. He doesn't have that pale greenish look. His voice is okay. It's not raspy. He's not coughing, and he's not sweating, and he's just all right. It's just like bingo.
It's so
fine.
cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty trippy.
Yeah. I have a client who that happened this week, been sick for days, and finally told me, and put her, finally got the right things that she needed, the right combination. And she messaged me the next morning thanking me. She was human again. It was, results vary based off of what people have. So I never want to, but for the, and especially if there's a lot of toxins I found in the body, the people who use the bowl to purge out the toxins, The rays, when they get flu, heal faster.
They do. Yeah.
Okay, questions. They're coming in now.
Oh, yeah, we got a bunch of questions. The next one is from Stephanie. Do formulas and the questions that you spoke of come with the bowl, or is that part of the training?
That's, I'm not quite sure I understood what you said. Maybe say it again.
Do formulas and the questions that you spoke of come with the bowl, or is that part of the training?
It's part of the training. Yeah. With the bowl, there's also a manual. And this that you see back here, this is a printout of the manual with all of the formulas and the frequencies and rates and different programs that have been created to date. Well, almost. I have a new batch that I haven't added to that yet.
There's some of the rates that come with the bowl and the basic instruction manual, but the big stuff is in the class.
Yeah. Yeah, the class, all the protocols, all the to-dos and don't do's, it's all part of the class. Yeah.
All right. Next one, Leora. And this is definitely a controversial subject, so I don't want to go too deep into the conspiracy stuff on it. But she's curious about thoughts on vaccine injuries and using the bowl to reverse it, or even as a post-vaccine chelation method.
Yes, we have great vaccine rates. And I just found a whole pile of new ones to add to the update on the manual, which includes a great number of vaccines that exist today. And they work great. They antidote the side effects. They can clear the material that gets stuck in your body. Some of this stuff from the vaccines, the actual physical material, actually can stay in your body, till you die of old age. It could still be in your tissues. Just the same thing as the mercury that you get in your teeth with your silver mercury amalgam fillings. It's oozing mercury into your body your whole life, 24/7. And you build it up. It just builds up in all these nicks and crannies on a cellular, atomic level all over your body. And it's wreaking havoc. All those things, they wreak havoc, destroy tissues. And we can get those materials out. The rates can disappear them out of your body. And the antidoting, it takes the energetics of it out of your body. And then we try to work on repairing the damaged tissue. And that's very successful. That's the whole thing, all the steps, they work fabulously. Be surprised the kind of healing that happens. You get some of these fundamental things like the vaccines, the mercury, lead, arsenic, other junk. You get it out of your body, you get the vibration out, you start to heal the tissues. Once you get the stuff out of the way, the body is gung-ho. It's made and designed to heal itself. And it will, rapidly. With this little extra boost, it can go a long ways healing itself.
All right. Good one. Great questions.
Really great.
Can you heal yourself using the bowl, and can you be trained virtually?
Can you heal yourself with the bowl?
Yeah.
And can you be trained virtually?
Yes.
Well, the classes, thank God, are online.
Yes.
Uh,
The answer to both questions is really yes. And
Yeah.
you and I, Kay, are like walking examples.
Oh yeah, I had some serious damage. Helmut had serious damage from just rough things happening in our lives. I had really bad mercury poisoning. And speaking of vaccines, I was a recipient of the very first batch of the polio sugar cube vaccine.
Okay.
And they
I'm
stopped
not going to let you go down this road.
they stopped making them because they realized they were making people sick with polio. Not the exact polio that you were trying to not get, because you're getting a vaccine, you're not supposed to get that polio, but they altered the germ in the vaccine, so the polio wasn't quite the same, and they would call it a dead virus, but there is no such thing. You can't kill it. So there's this new polio virus that was created, and that's how most of those vaccines work, especially with the viruses. So I caught that version of polio, but with the radionics, with the bowl, wow. My friend in Red Door Radionics Crime, she was working on me. I was sick. Oh my God. And she was working away, and it just never occurred to her that that would be a germ that somebody would have. But there are rates for it. There's frequencies and stuff in the literature, in the manual here. She came across it. It tested positive, so she broadcast it to me. And it was just sort of like with Helmut. As soon as she did it, wow, I felt mostly cured. The pain was gone, the fatigue. I just felt like somebody turned a light switch and I was human again. I was able to do stuff. So I called her right away and asked her what she did. And that's what she broadcast that information from the vaccine stuff material. So those are examples. Those are things that you can do.
Those were the times when I had to carry you around.
Yeah.
You were so
Well, I
bad.
noticed the term walking example because I know that how bad your back was that you could barely walk. I mean, I've had my own health scares where we couldn't, Kay helped me out with that before I was studying radionics. And it's one of the reasons I went further in the healing arts is I wanted to learn to heal myself. But I often feel like, learning this, I missed a bullet. It's learning on yourself is the hardest and the best healing work you'll learn. So yes, and I took the classes virtually too. It's super cool that this first round of the training is you're planning on doing it live. They can take the class later recorded, but they can jump on live, which is super cool. But I'm not going to let you talk about that on a later date, but it's cool.
Okay, next questions. Actually, these are a combination. One is, how long does one use a bowl for each target? And in the chat, there was a similar question, actually the same question in part. How long do you keep the target's information in the bowl? And then what if you have many healing clients?
Good questions. How long to keep it in the bowl varies wildly. It might only need to be in an hour, a couple of hours. It might need to be a few days. There are some things I've had in the bowl for myself that I've kept in for a year. And They just, it varies so much. You might want to say you're working on the garden and all your neighbors have a particular bug that is, bugging all of their gardens and their house. And you may want to keep it in the entire season or the whole year, however long the bug has the chance of being around. So it just varies tremendously. And more than one target. Well, like I said, there is that unusual option that comes up every once in a while, putting two people in one bowl with the one same program. Otherwise, if you have multiple targets and they all have their own program they need, you got to have a bowl for each one. And if you look behind me in the closet, there are a number of bowls showing. Right now, we're quite low. But we're getting more in really soon. When we're usually up to stock, there's usually about 100 bowls, and they're all working. Many of them are on people, targets, our yard, somebody's garden, the animals, all those things. And if I have any extra and don't seem to have a target for those guys, we have what we call the world card. And this is a healing the world, healing energies for the world. So it's the whole target is the planet, the world, and everything on it. And so we're broadcasting to that as well.
In my beginning, when I started using it and learning, I just had the one bowl, and I'd be in for a day. I'd douse for time. Figure out how much time I'd be a day. My husband would be a day. Somebody else would be a day. And that's when you start wanting more bowls. Is just that because the timing of like, oh, make breakfast, rotate everybody out, keep going, it kind of becomes a headache, but again, I have 17 bowls now. So I've just kind of started my second bowl came because my husband was upset he got taken out because he's feeling it, and I took him out to work on a client, and he was just like, but I thought that was my bowl, and so it really, everybody, when it's just slow and steady. You don't have to get all the bowls you all need at once, but as soon as you start learning it, you see how valuable and how you just, I don't like being out of the bowl. I have my own, he has his own. Again, the cats have their own. Chickens have their own.
The cat that we used to have, Alice, she knew which bowl was hers.
That's so
cool. Go and lay down and curl around that bowl.
That's awesome.
Okay, I hope this answered those questions. And we have another question from Jennifer. If you have any other questions, type them in. Now is your chance. We are down to the last question in the queue. And this one, what hinders the effectiveness or accuracy of the broadcast? This one we can touch on a little bit, but we have one of the webinars is called, God, it left my brain. Oh,
yeah, no,
what makes it so effective? What makes the healing arts and the red door so effective? So I think we're going to touch a lot more on that in that webinar. But do you want to say something to that, Kay?
Well, I think our own mental negative activity can be a hindrance. And the bowl helps with that, but like anything that you want to do and do well at, and especially in any kind of healing, cleaning up your own interior act is a good idea. Everything always works better when you have been working on yourself and continue to work on yourself and get rid of all the negative old babbling junk.
Beliefs.
Blind
Same thing.
Beliefs.
The beliefs. Yeah.
Belief of what is health.
Oh boy, our culture. We don't know what good health is. We've lost touch with what really good health is. And we expect people as they age to just be falling apart, with every year, fall apart more. And we're designed to not have to do that. That's not what being a human being is all about. If you look at primitive cultures that don't have much touch with our modern culture, they don't use any of our modern things or food or technologies, they're remarkably healthy. They live to very old age, maintaining their health. Men still can father children in their 90s or over 100. They hike up mountains carrying things at any age. And that's a human legacy. We've just been giving it up, inch by inch with every year, and not realizing that we've done that.
Okay, I got one more question here. What about tumors and cancer? Have you had great results with these also?
Yes, we had some remarkable results with stuff like that. But you also have to remember that all humans and animals and plants, these things, even soil and water, everything's alive and conscious, and they have their own pre-designed agenda. They've already decided when and how they're going to die. And so for people in our culture, many of them have picked to die of cancer. And there's all sorts of different ideas and reasons around that, why they would choose that. We won't go into that here. When someone has made that decision, or something has made that decision, it doesn't matter what kind of healings you do. You can't change it because it's not for you to try to change. We haven't been given that power to override someone's decision of when they want to pass on and go on and do something else with their existence.
I've had cancer clients. One worked, one didn't.
Yeah.
It was very close. One worked, one didn't. And that's one of the things most people, I think, who have cancer and want to work on themselves, it traditionally works better because I think the desire is there. But again, you had said that earlier, we ask.
We're always asking at the beginning of all protocols, we ask if we have permission. Do we have, personal, verbal, face-to-face or email to email kind of, yes, please work on me. You have my permission to work on me. And then there's the spiritual energetic permission. We're talking to their spirit and asking their spirit for permission to be able to work on them. Always, every target.
And the bull can reach that.
We ask questions about, is this appropriate? Is this good? Is it going to work? Is it going to be beneficial? Is there anything about the program that I put together that might cause side effects? The whole list of protocol. That's a big part of the class.
Yeah. We're not, I mean, I've been asked by clients to work on husbands or spouses who weren't aware that they had asked. It just doesn't work. I mean, is what happens. It won't work on them. As much as you'd want it to, it just won't broadcast to them. So without their permission, it doesn't work.
It's a very interesting phenomena.
Yeah, that's probably, maybe we could talk about that in the quantum physics one. Or the ethics class. Yeah, and what somebody mentioned in the chat, free will. Free will is a huge quantum physics conversation.
It's a very big piece of the healing arts, the energetic ancient healing arts, and the red door radionics. Free will. Everything has free will. So trying to do power over and control, and that's a violent approach. Those are violent acts, and they don't work with the energetic healings and the red door healing.
Okay, this
has been cool.
beautiful. This was truly amazing. There's one more question I want to touch on. So where and how do I enroll? Okay, we are still putting up all this material and registration and all that information on the pages. But there is, like I said, there's 3 more webinars, and before those are done, we will have all that up, and we will share that information. In the meantime, remember katarsireddoor.com. On that side, all this information will be showing up there as well. So as soon as that's up, that's where you go. And if this is the first video you're watching, the recording of, and you haven't registered for the others yet, also same website, katarsireddoor.com. You can go there and sign up to receive the remaining recordings once they're up from this webinar series. And am I forgetting anything, Laura?
Bowling party at my house.
Party, yeah. That's after the 4 webinars are completed, a week after thereabouts. There's going to be an in-person gathering where everybody gets to touch and play with the bowls and get questions.
If you're in my area.
Yeah, if you're in Aurora, outside Portland, or if you want to travel there. And Kay and I will be kind of tuning in via video conference as well when you're there to answer any questions while you're there, or for anybody that want to join us online. So I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Laura?
Real quick, Helmut, if they have questions that come up, they can email you or...
Oh yeah, you can always contact us. I believe the phone number is on the website, and you can always email me. You can find that also on the website, the email address, or I'm just going to give it out here. Helmut, HELMUT @katarsi.com. So send me an email with any questions. If you want to set up a time to talk, same email address, and just shoot me an email and we set that up. Let's see, there's something in the chat. Oh, lots of thank yous. You're so welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Kay, so much.
I saw Jennifer Straits coming to the bowling party, so there'll be more practitioners there, not just me. So you can talk to other people who use it. Diversity, because we all use it very, very differently and for different things. So super cool.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Laura, so much. Can't wait
No, thank
till
you.
Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Very
everybody, for joining us. That was beautiful. They're just amazing. And the recording will be up soon, and we'll let you know about it. Any last thoughts, anybody?
See you next week.
Yes.
See you at the next one.
Okay. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.